The Valdorian Empire had conquered 17 star systems in 3 months. Their plasma cannons could melt asteroids, their shield matrices deflected neutron bombs, and their war fleet stretched across light years like metallic death shrouds. They were, by every galactic standard, the most technologically advanced military force the universe had ever witnessed, which made their retreat from the Sol system all the more perplexing. Captain Thexara stood in the command chamber of the dreadnought Eternal Dominion, her 4 eyes scanning the tactical displays with growing unease. The human homeworld hung before them like a blue marble, seemingly defenseless. No massive space stations, no planetary shields, no fleets of warships rushing to meet them. Just silence. "Status report," she commanded, her translator converting her clicks and whistles into standard galactic. "Unchanged, Captain," replied her weapons officer, a crystalline being whose faceted head sparkled under the bridge lights. "Human vessels remain in orbital positions. They're not fleeing, not advancing. They're just waiting." Thexara's primary eyes narrowed. In 17 previous campaigns, no species had simply waited for the Valdorian fleet. They fled, they fought, or they surrendered. They didn't just hover in space, watching. "Open a channel to the human vessels." The main screen flickered, revealing a human face, weathered, middle-aged, with those strange single-pupiled eyes that seemed to hold depths the Valdorians couldn't fathom. The human wore no military decorations, no signs of rank, just simple clothes and an expression of mild curiosity. "I'm Admiral Sarah Chen," the human said. "I assume you're here to conquer us?" Thexara clicked her mandibles in what her species considered an intimidating gesture. "I am Captain Thexara of the Valdorian Empire. Your world will submit or be reduced to cosmic dust. You have 1 standard hour to—" "Actually," Chen interrupted, "before you finish that threat, I should probably mention something. We've been monitoring your campaign across the galaxy. Impressive work, really. Your plasma cannons are quite efficient." The Valdorian captain's eye stalks twitched. No one had ever complimented their weapons during a surrender negotiation. "However," Chen continued, "we humans have a bit of a problem. We're what you might call creatively destructive when we're desperate. And right now we're very desperate." "Your threats mean nothing," Thexara snarled. "Our shields can withstand any—" "Oh, we're not threatening you," Chen said with a smile that somehow made Thexara's exoskeleton crawl. "We're warning you. You see, when humans get desperate, we don't just build better weapons. We build different weapons." On cue, the human ships began broadcasting data streams. Thexara's tactical officer's crystalline form flickered rapidly, a sign of extreme agitation. "Captain," he whispered, "you need to see this." The data filled their screens. Weapon schematics unlike anything in the galactic database. Not plasma cannons or photon torpedoes or gravitational disruptors. Something else entirely. "Biological warfare?" Thexara read aloud. "Chemical weapons? Nuclear fission? What is this primitive—" "Oh, those are our old desperate weapons," Chen said cheerfully. "We stopped using most of those centuries ago. Too messy, too indiscriminate. No, what we've prepared for you is much more targeted." Another data stream. Thexara's blood ran cold as her translation software struggled with concepts that had no equivalent in any known language. "Mimetic warfare," she read slowly. "Psychological viral constructs. Cognitive hazard deployment. Information-based reality manipulation." She looked up at the screen. "What are these terms?" Chen's smile widened. "Well, we discovered something interesting about advanced civilizations. The more sophisticated your technology, the more integrated your neural networks become. And the more integrated your networks, the more vulnerable you are to certain ideas. Ideas cannot harm us, can't they? Your entire fleet shares a collective tactical network, doesn't it? Perfect communication, instant coordination, very efficient. Also very vulnerable to what we call a logic bomb." Thexara felt her confidence wavering. "Explain." "Simple. We've created a mathematical proof that's impossible to disprove, but leads to computational paradox. Once any AI or sufficiently networked organic intelligence encounters it, the mind essentially breaks, not dies exactly. Just gets stuck in an infinite loop of trying to resolve the paradox." The Valdorian captain's 4 eyes darted to her network displays. Her ship's AI was indeed connected to the fleet's collective consciousness, as were the minds of every crew member, through their neural implants. "You're bluffing, are we? Tell me, Captain, what happens when an irresistible force meets an immovable object?" Thexara opened her mouth to answer, then closed it. The question seemed simple, but as her enhanced mind began to process it through the fleet's quantum network, she felt something shift. The logical pathways of the collective intelligence began to slow, to stutter, to stop. She shrieked, severing her connection to the network. Chen nodded sympathetically. Nasty, isn't it? And that was just a mild sample. We have 17 different cognitive hazards loaded and ready to broadcast, philosophical paradoxes that crash quantum computers, artistic patterns that induce seizures in silicon-based life forms, musical sequences that cause temporal perception disorders. This is impossible. Weapons cannot be made of ideas. Captain, Chen said gently, humans have been weaponizing ideas since we learned to speak. We've started wars with words, toppled empires with concepts, and changed reality itself with nothing but imagination. You brought physical weapons to an conceptual arms race. Thexara's hands trembled over her command console. Around her, crew members who had maintained connection to the fleet network stood frozen, their eyes glazed as their minds struggled with impossible questions. What do you want? She whispered. Nothing, really. We just want to be left alone to pursue our hobbies. Art, music, philosophy, mathematics. The dangerous stuff. Chen's expression grew serious. You can leave now, Captain. Take your fleet and go conquer someone else, someone who fights with mere matter and energy. And if we refuse? Chen shrugged. Then we'll show you what human desperation really looks like. We'll teach your entire civilization to think like humans do. Chaotic, creative, contradictory human thought patterns will spread through every network, every connection, every shared consciousness in your empire. She leaned closer to the camera. Tell me, Captain, what do you think happens to a perfectly ordered society when it suddenly learns to ask why? The transmission ended. Thexara stared at the empty screen for a long moment, then turned to her navigation officer. Set course for the Centauri systems. We'll find easier prey elsewhere. As the Valdorian fleet began its retreat, Admiral Chen watched from her command ship's observation deck. Beside her, Dr. Martinez, the architect of their cognitive warfare program, sipped his coffee. Think they'll be back? He asked. Chen shrugged. Maybe, but probably not. Bullies tend to avoid fights they can't understand. You know we never actually finished building those mimetic weapons, right? Half of what you showed them was theoretical. Chen smiled. Marcus, the most dangerous weapon humans have ever created is the threat of what we might do when we're desperate. We don't need to build the impossible, we just need them to believe we have. In the depths of space, the Valdorian fleet jumped to hyperspace, carrying with them a new addition to the galactic database. A single entry marked "Avoid at all costs" next to the coordinates of Sol 3. Humanity had won their first interstellar war without firing a single shot.